The story of Saint Basil the Great.
Subscribe to our channel to receive more content like this.
Have you ever heard of someone who was both a genius and a saint? Someone who could have had fame, wealth, and power, but chose instead to live a life of service. Let me tell you the story of Saint Basil the Great, a man who lived over 1,600 years ago, but whose impact is still felt today. This isn't just a story about ancient history. It's about standing up for what's right, caring for others when no one else will, and using whatever gift you have, not just for yourself, but for the good of the world. Basil was born around the year 330 AD in a place called Caesarea, in what is now modern-day Turkey. His family was wealthy, well-educated, and, most importantly, deeply Christian. In fact, several of his relatives also became saints. So you might say sainthood ran in the family. But Basil wasn't born holy. He had to grow into it. As a young man, Basil was brilliant. He studied in the best schools, in Caesarea, Constantinople, and even in Athens, where he met another future saint, Gregory of Nazianzus, who became his lifelong friend. People say Basil could have been anything: a lawyer, a philosopher, a politician. He had the brain and charm to rise to the top, but something didn't sit right with him. After all that education and travel, Basil came home and realized he felt empty. All the knowledge in the world didn't fill the deeper questions in his heart. So he started reading the Bible more seriously. He met monks, people who gave up everything to live simply, pray deeply, and serve others. And he had a change of heart. Basil gave away much of his inheritance and chose a life of faith, study, and service. He became a priest. Then, eventually, he was made Bishop of Caesarea, and that's when things really got interesting. As bishop, Basil didn't sit in some fancy house telling others what to do. No, he led by example. At a time when there were no hospitals or public safety nets, Basil built what some call the first real hospital system in history. He created what people called the Basiliad, a huge center with medical care, food, shelter for the homeless, schools for orphans, and even work for the poor. He didn't just preach charity, he organized it. And remember, this was in the 4th century. Long before governments helped the needy, Basil showed what the church and human compassion could do. But Basil's story isn't just about kindness. It's also about courage. You see, in Basil's time, there was a lot of confusion and fighting in the church. A belief called Arianism was spreading. It denied that Jesus was fully God. This was a big deal because it changed the whole meaning of who Christ was. And to make things harder, the emperor at the time, Valens, supported the Arian side. That meant standing up for what Basil believed could be dangerous. But Basil didn't back down. One famous story tells how the emperor's representative came to intimidate Basil, threatening to take away everything: his position, his possessions, even his life. And Basil calmly replied something like this: "You can't take away what I've already given to God. My money, I have none. My body, you can't exile someone who has no home. As for death, that would just bring me closer to Christ." The official was stunned. And Basil, he stood his ground. With wisdom, faith, and fierce love for the truth, he helped protect the church's teaching about Jesus. Basil didn't live a long life. He died around the age of 49. But in that short time, he left behind a legacy that still shapes the world today. He wrote books that helped define Christian theology. He inspired monks to live not just in isolation, but in community, praying and working together. And his example of service helped lay the foundation for Christian charity as we know it. Even today, he's remembered as one of the greatest early church fathers, and he's honored not just by Catholics, but also by the Eastern Orthodox and many other Christian traditions. So, what can we take from St. Basil's story? Maybe it's this: that your talents, your mind, your voice, your time are gifts meant to be shared. That true greatness doesn't come from power or wealth, but from how you treat others, especially those in need. And that even in a world full of pressure and division, you can still stand firm for what's right, with courage, with compassion, and with love. That's the story of St. Basil the Great, a brilliant thinker, a fearless leader, and above all, a man who lived what he believed. Thanks for listening.